Hey, it's all good in the hood. I love you too. 5x5, please, if you guys are up on it already. It's really cool. I hope my bro's in here from across the pond down south. How's it going, son? You know what I'm talking about. You probably see PN in the house. We're waiting. We've got a bit of a lag, as we do. So we're just trying to see if we can make sure audio and visual is good. Once we've done that, we're rocking and rolling. Ah, here we go. Lone Wolf is first, 5x5. That's good. That's good. So you can all see and hear me. Awesome. Right, let's just jump over to there. Cool, brilliant. Right, so yeah, it was really, really strange because I've been racking my brains trying to think, what video can I do today? And I'm looking around on mainstream media. It doesn't seem to be that much going on. Just the average BS, you know. And of course, went on Twitter. Some of my friends send me stuff behind the scenes on Instagram, and it just didn't seem to be much happening today, which is bizarre. So when I sort of stepped back from it all and tried to think, wow, it's weird. I should imagine most of us who are intuitive, we get instinctive gut feelings. And by the way, in my opinion, that's one of the most best items of kit you should have in your arsenal is intuition. And when you start feeling, it feels like everything is starting to just fall apart. I don't know if you feel the same. Let me know in the chat. We've currently got 300. Wow, already we've only been on air for a minute. That's awesome. The calm before the storm. Pamela Swan. Yes, a few people. It feels like, but you just can't put your finger on it, but it just feels like, you know, based upon what we are seeing, what we are hearing, you know, from friends, loved ones, family all around the world. I would like to think that most people watching this video right now are aware to some extent of what is going on, what is likely to happen. I would like to think that lots of people watching this video are not the type of people who would just do a 9-to-5 job, come home, have tea, watch EastEnders, you know, have a few beers, play computer games, and they don't even question, they don't even worry, they don't care, they don't even think about, you know, what is actually going on. So I'd like to think that most of you guys watching are awake or aware to some extent. Now I want to pick your brains, and do you feel like there's all this weird stuff coming down the road? Now, because we sort of been manipulated or brainwashed into sort of taking time in segments, whether it's week by week, month by month, or year by year, or decade by decade. This year is ridiculous. There seems to be so much that has happened already, and so much seems to be on the cards to actually come to pass this year. And it doesn't really look like good news, good positive news. It almost feels like we are aware that there is a storm coming. You have to be freaking blind, stupid, retarded to some extent to realize that everything's fine. I'm not affected by anything. Of course, we're all feeling it, all sorts of things. So we've got quite a few people, and welcome if you're watching PM UK time, because I didn't really want to wait to the evening. I wanted to get this out there now because it's been on my mind for a while. I've made loads of notes, and it'd be cool to get your opinions as well on what you're feeling. 6 cents, there you go. What's really going on? Exactly. Zero Fox nailed it. What's really going on? That's the most important thing, because as you know, most of it is smoke and mirrors bullshit, what we get on the news over here in Britain. So I've just made a few notes based upon what's on my mind and what is being put out there. And to be honest, it's not really talked about in its entirety, should I say, as a collective. Some of these things I'm going to talk about bits and pieces, yes, but when you put them all together, when you step back and you look at the whole thing and just get out of your own personal bubble, what's going on in your life, but look at the stuff that's gone on around the world. Now, it's not really fashionable in the UK to talk about what's going on in the Far East or South America or South Africa. It seems like they're not really important. They don't really exist. But, you know, there is things going on in India, South America, South Africa, all over the place where like it doesn't seem to be fashionable. In the UK at the moment, with all of his prepper stuff and the craziness that's going on, the only stuff that really seems to be relevant is the West, Europe, UK, US, Canada, and to some extent Australia. Everywhere else in the world, no one really gives a shit about, to be honest. But like I say, when you step back and you look at what's going on, and it's so weird because John, if you're here, I just watched Prepper Nation live when he was doing his coffee stuff over there in America, and it's so weird because me and him, we are like twin brothers. It's bizarre. Honestly, I'm not joking. I've had people say, yeah, you and John Prepper Nation are like this. And it's so weird because some of the things he talks about was literally what was on my mind. And so I've written all of those down and other things as well, which I wanted to talk about, just to get your thoughts on all of this stuff seems to be falling into place. This is the title of this live stream because it's not until you look at all of these little things, it really does seem to be all falling into place that we are indeed heading towards this shit at the fan, which we've been talking about for years. And you're going to have the people, the trolls, you're going to have the people who are paid by three-letter agencies and mainstream to come on here and to say, oh, you're just a conspiracy theorist and blah, 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 and whatever. But, you know, these people, in my opinion, it's best to ignore them because time is so precious and so important. I do not want to waste it arguing with tossers who literally are going to disagree with everything we say. If you don't like what I'm talking about, or if you disagree with everything I'm saying, the best thing to do is just not to watch. I want to tell you straight, if I watch any YouTube video and if I don't like it for whatever reason, do you know what I do? I just switch it off and watch something else. I don't even bother lowering myself to put negative comments out there, because what does that do? All it does is it just makes you look like a complete dickhead. And if people want to enter into your world of dickheadness and start slanging comments around, well, think about what that's doing to your energy. My advice, just leave them. And their comment can stay there and everyone can look how asleep or unaware or immature they actually are. So with that being said, look at that. You can't argue with idiots. Kenny, absolutely on point. So what are we going to talk about? Russia. It's all over the headlines. Why not start with what the headlines are saying? This is what I'm trying to do. Is I'm trying to break down all of this BS which is going on there. Now, Russia, terrorist attacks. What do you think about all of these terrorist attacks that are going on out there in Moscow? I mean, I remember doing a live stream recently and 40 people were whacked, 100 people were injured. I don't know what the latest figures are because, to be fair, how does that absolutely affect us? It really doesn't affect my way of life and what goes on in the country where I live in the United Kingdom. Not now, but maybe in the future. This is why I wanted to get your guys and girls' opinions on that. Oh my God, already? Seriously? Thank you, Jonathan, for that donation on PayPal. You awesome, honestly. But yes, it's crazy. It really is crazy. Someone says it's all horseshit, terrorist attacks, false flags. Yeah, for sure. It was the Ukrainians. Like I'm saying, this is a perfect distraction. Okay. Now, this, in my opinion, usually happens when lots and lots of people are asking questions, lots of people are researching, lots of people are talking like me about this real stuff. And then once there seems to be like a big number of people that all of this stuff's getting out, it's almost like someone says, let's start something, let's distract them for a while. And that's exactly what's been going on. Like I said, the intuitives amongst us all, aware preppers, as I like to call ourselves in this community, are asking questions. We can feel stuff's coming down the pipe. We can feel something's not right. You don't have to look what's going on. You can feel it. Now, this is what I believe. All of a sudden, all of this stuff's going on, and then boom, okay, send them a distraction. I was sent a reel today from someone who I follow on Instagram, and do you know what it was? Someone was saying that the American embassy in Haiti has been evacuated by special forces at nighttime because people in Haiti are eating each other. Can you believe the amount of sideshow BS that's going on out there? I am not joking. I am not pulling your chain, Jack. This is crazy. And then when you see the source of this information being revealed by the guy who released this reel, guess where he got it from? The Daily Star. Now, I would like to let all of our American brothers and sisters know right now, if you get any news from the UK which comes from the Sun or the Daily Star, just admit it straight away. Admit it from your inquiries. It's bullshit. If anyone buys the Daily Star in the UK, it's a true reflection of their IQ. And we are going to have a random guess, and we're going to say probably below 50. If you understand what I'm talking about, it's absolute frigging lunacy. Okay, so KS, trust your gut. Exactly, 100%. If you have loads of kit and equipment, you have loads of training, loads of expertise, loads of skills, loads of knowledge, great. But if you've got no intuition, do you know what? All of that is freaking useless. I mean, useless. You can have everything. You could be the smartest, the fastest, the baddest, the meanest, the hardest, the richest, or whatever. If you've got no intuition and you've got no gut feeling, you are going to be left high and dry, my friend. Time will tell, and you will see that I am not speaking the BS right here. So all of that stuff. And another thing, rumor has it that Putin has just been given another 5 years in office, whether the people in Russia like him or not. To be honest, guess what? Putin was a World Economic Forum member until he decided to do what he did with Ukraine. And then all of a sudden, his information ties with the World Economic Forum was deleted from the World Economic Forum website. Now, if you don't believe me, there's a website which you can check this out, and it's called Wayback Machine. Go into your search browser and type in Wayback Machine and type in WEF Putin, and you will see it on their website. They've deleted it as soon as he went into Ukraine. So Putin is part of the World Economic Forum. Even Trump has had dealings and ties with the World Economic Forum. What I'm trying to say is, it doesn't matter who's seemingly in charge of all of these countries. They're all paid for. They're all bought off. Everyone. I must admit, Trump is playing an excellent role, appearing that he is different and he is for real change, etc., etc. And it's really, really difficult, I know. But at the end of the day, they are all reading the script. Whether that hurts, whether you disagree, that's what I believe. And we are all here to believe whatever we want. We shouldn't have to just believe whatever someone else says. This is where intuition and your gut feeling really comes in. Okay. Oh, no, really? Philip, thank you so much. Scott, Wessex Blades, how you doing? Good to see you, Scott. And yeah, I'm sorry I didn't get involved with your little campaign about the knives in the UK. Things have just been crazy. If you do make it to the prepper meet, we'll have a catch up, because my world's been different, shall we say. Good to see you, Scott. And yes, 5D chess. Exactly. But all of these other distractions, which are leading to this craziness of 2024. What about the royal family? Whether you love them or whether you hate them, whether you believe in them, whether you disagree with them, it's entirely your call. Personally, I don't give a monkey's rat's ass about the royal family. I really don't. Years ago, when we were kids, we didn't know no better. We would stand there at street parties waving these Union Jacks, proud to be part of Great Britain and all the rest of it. But it's not until you start growing up and you start to see what's really going on. So I'm guessing lots of military veterans really struggle with the royal family. Okay. And I get it. I completely get it. Back there, when I was in the military, I signed an agreement. I was attested. But when you leave, when you finish your time in the military, you can absolutely stop that agreement right there and then. John, if you're watching, from BRECON, can you whack it in the chat? There's the term which is used for when you finish your time in military service and you sever all ties with your oath of allegiance with the Queen, now King. there's a term for that. So if you can whack it in there, John, I'd appreciate it. So yeah, so lots of veterans are struggling with all of the stuff coming out about the royal family. It's just nuts. Okay. Now I've already said in probably about 4 or 5 videos now, most of them have been live streams, early on last year. So about this time last year, I've absolutely said that the king will not be king by the end of this year. Now, how that happens is a bit of a lottery right now. Whether the king and or other senior members of the royal family disappear in a tragic accident, possibly. Maybe all of the information will come out about what really happened about the death of Lady Diana and his implications with that. And he'll be literally forced to step down from being King of England. Okay. Not the real king anyway. I know. But lots of people would just fundamentally disagree with that. But whatever it is, that's the common belief that, yes, he is the King of England. So, yes. And then what else have we got? So, obviously, the king and Kate went into hospital roughly around exactly the same time. Kate's just been diagnosed with cancer. There's all sorts of stuff bubbling behind the scenes. Now, only those people who are working in direct contact with the royal family will have some idea of what is really going on. Okay, so all of that stuff is literally just really getting to people now. Now, it would be interesting to see if there was a genuine poll going back, say, 20 years. Okay, every year they've done a poll with everyone in the UK. Do you feel we need a monarchy in the UK? Yes or no? If they've done a poll every single year for 20 years, the last 20 years, do you think the numbers this year would be higher or lower than they were 20 years ago in favour of the royal family? My suspicions are more people are getting more and more pissed off with the greed and the ritualistic nightmares that reside within the royal family. If you don't understand the Order of the Garter, the Malta Cross, I suggest you look into it. If you don't understand Freemasonry and the Duke of Kent, I suggest you look into it, because these people within the royal family are not what is being put in the mainstream media. It's absolutely not. And more people are waking up to this and saying, I don't want nothing to do with those. So the figure of respect for the royal family is falling daily because this information is getting out there, and it's like, what? Also, there has recently been a smokescreen attack blaming Russia and China about trying to make all of us believe that the royal family is evil. But to be honest, it's nothing to do with propaganda and them guys. We've got our own minds, our own brains, our own intuition. We can work it out for ourselves. We don't need the make-believe enemy that this is the case. Okay, so there's lots of stuff going on. Wow, check it out. We got nearly 1,000 people in the chat. Fantastic. I think John Preparation's gone. Oh, thank you for that, sir. Divitato. There it is. So if you was in the United Kingdom military, army, navy, air force, special forces, and you left, you can use that word there, dividato. Look into it. Slave to no man. It's a clever guy. Very clever guy. Cheers for that, John. So yes, so that is probably for any military veterans out there who are struggling hearing me and others talk about anything bad about the royal family. Okay, I'm just going to pop into here right now. It looks like I've done a poll about wearing his hat, whether to take it off or keep it on. Loads of people are saying keep it on, so we'll keep it on. If I saw John Preparation in there, I'll probably take it off because he put a tie on for me, which is really cute. Anyway, so all of that stuff going on with the royal family. I want to hear your input on this. Now, there has been a shitload of talk about this subject. It's crazy. And it's literally taken America by storm. That is the eclipse. Yes, What do you think about the eclipse? Is it a load of bullshit? Is it a sideshow? Is something bad going to happen on the day? Is something bad going to happen the day after? Are rituals going to be carried out on that day in order to shape events in the future? What do you think? You've got an open mic right now. Let us know in the live chat. So we are looking a non-event. Okay. I worked with a lady in the Special Forces. Very interesting stories. Yeah, I know quite a few people in the Special Forces actually, and the stuff that I hear, unbelievable. Really is unbelievable. Someone says, Laura says the eclipse is a man-made psyop. Wowee. I must admit, you know, when you start questioning things, which I'm hoping people do, and this is where we sort of lose some preppers from the community, because we've got preppers and we've got aware preppers. Okay, your bog standard average prepper wouldn't even look into any conspiracies, what they call conspiracies. Basically, conspiracies is a fudged CIA term for anyone asking questions. Okay, so if you ask questions in my book, that's a good thing. We should question things. If there's something you're presented with which you don't like, it makes you feel a bit uneasy, something you think, I smell a rat there, you know, that gut feeling, you should question things, because guess what? If you don't, you are part of the problem. You are living in fear and you are failing to question things. Now, one of the main reasons the global society, as it were, is in the state of mess that it's in right now, do you know what I think? Too many people are saying yes, and not enough people are questioning things. Too many people are blindly going on and believing whatever people in positions of authority are saying. It's all from education. When you go to school, even your parents will say, do as you're told, whatever the teacher says, you got to do. So that ultimate trust between child and parent is being passed over to teachers. And all teachers do is do as they're told. And who tells them what to do? The state, the government. So you have to start to think, do you trust the government and the state? Yes or no? It's a real simple question. If the answer is no, why would you send your kid to an indoctrination system where they are going to be brought up to do whatever they're told to do without questioning things? That's wrong. I believe we should teach our children to question things. If something doesn't seem right or you don't understand, question it. Don't be shy. Question it. And this is one of the reasons why we are in the mess we're in, because not enough people are questioning things. But it does feel like the gut feeling says that the tide is turning. People are questioning things, and about frigging time too. So if you question things watching right now, well done. We need to encourage other people to question things as well. Okay, all of the people that just go along, do as they're told, shut themselves up and don't do anything, don't speak up and just say yes, these are the problems. Okay, it's just how it is. So the eclipse, yeah, is it BS? Is it made up? What about the moon itself? What about the size of the moon? What about where it is? What are the chances of there being a perfect eclipse right there? What are the odds? Some people even say they sent a probe at high speed to the moon and it impacted the surface of the moon. And do you know what the data come back? The data suggests and absolutely categorically says that based upon the signals that was put out when the object hit the moon is absolutely hollow. How bizarre is that? And the strange thing is, when we had remote craft out there gathering samples from the moon's surface, none of it is from the Earth. So that makes me question things. Hold on a minute. We are being told by mainstream scientists and professors and all of the people who do really well in universities, because who funds the universities? There you go. Where does the money come from? Exactly. So is there a lot of truth there, or is it maybe biased? Maybe it's been bought and sold, and universities can only promote certain ideas because you've got to do what the money says. And the money says, guess what? We are being told that this comet or asteroid hit the Earth, a big lump fell off, went outside and spun around the Earth, and it was spinning for so long it turned round, and oh, it must be part of the Earth. But when he brought samples back from the moon, not one single thing of them matched what was on the Earth. So that theory is bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. But nonetheless, regardless of that, this is what mainstream professors and scientists are putting out all over the world. It's called the whack theory. And then there's a double whack theory. So, question things. If you start to blindly believe all of this BS, you are going to be part of the problem. So, the eclipse. Some people said it's not even real. Some said the moon is a space station. There's so many things. But the fundamental thing is we need people to ask questions. Stop frigging believing everything you're told. Okay? You're not a child. You're a frigging adult. You're an adult. Legally, by the age of 18, you are responsible for yourself, no one else. You can't blame anyone. The reason why your situation is what it is because of you and no one else. You can't blame anyone. This is a big problem which so many people really need to fundamentally realize, okay? No one's coming. You've got to help yourself. If you really want to sit inside and wait for your front door to be kicked in and gangs come in, do you really think that you're going to get your phone the police, and they're going to come around and help you immediately? No. You're on your own. You're an adult. Be smart. Work it out for yourself. Look at what's going on everywhere and start planning and preparing. Whatever it is, it's up to you. It's entirely up to you. There's no rules. There's no guidance. Do what you feel you need to do. My advice, if you can, move away from the city. Because when all of this stuff comes down, you don't want to be in the cities unless you are Bruce Lee, unless you've got a bunker under the ground with unlimited resources and ammunition, security. Let's face it, who's got that? No one I know. So, the eclipse, like we said earlier, the National Guard. Why the hell would the United States government call up the National Guard during a solar eclipse? What? Really? Why? It's seemingly a natural phenomenon where people can go outside and observe it. And why the hell are people being sold glasses, special glasses? It's embarrassing. The stuff that I see coming out of America, the amount of advertising, they are treating the American people like thick idiots, and it's not on. American people, on the whole, are very intelligent, clever people, and they're not freaking stupid. Why would you buy a pair of freaking glasses to look at the moon with a tiny little bright glow around it? What happens? This is my partner said this to me, right, honey? Yeah. We are told not to look at the sun because it would damage our eyes. My partner looks at the sun all of the time. She's not blind. In fact, her eyesight's better than mine. It goes back to the same thing that I keep saying to you guys. What we are being told, it's usually the opposite. So why would you want to go and buy special glasses to look at something so rare and unique? Oh, God forbid how many freaking glasses have been sold. And the amount of gullible people out there, well, it might hurt my eyes, I might have to buy some. Oh, they cost $9.99, and they cost probably like 10 cents to make. They're flimsy, cardboard. They look like them little 3D glasses used to get in cereal packets in the 80s. So dumb, but it is what it is. So there is lots and lots and lots of mainstream information and chatter going on about the eclipse. How I've done a live stream on it, and the response is unbelievable. 25,000 people have seen it already. It's insane. The stuff that's going on about the chatter, about the eclipse, it's absolutely bonkers. Oh, well, thank you. Someone's just left a donation for that charity walk. Roger, thank you for that, sir. Yes, I've got a charity walk coming up this week. It's going to be tough. And here it is. I'm going to be wearing this on the walk. I know. 10 miles, full kit, across the mountains. Will I do it? You'll have to hang around and find out, but you will be updated if you're subscribed to this channel. Your notifications are on. You will see that video coming out this week. So stay tuned. It's going to be awesome. I felt like I had to do my best with the following I've got to help the veterans out there who have gone through big mental stress from the stuff that they've seen, but the things that they've been told to do. They need help, because I tell you one thing, the government ain't helping them. It's down to us. Like I said, no one's coming. No one's going to come along and save your ass. You is. So it is. What about another thing? The elections. We've got the elections in the UK, Europe, and America in the same year. Three entities are having their elections this year. Now, there is quite a lot of speculation coming out from Patriot forums in America right now, and you can check this online. Okay. The word around a campfire is that if Biden gets elected in the end of this year, there will be a civil war in America. That's how serious this is. But without dwelling too much on that, I know it's a bit of a crazy headline, but there is a film coming out conveniently called Civil War. Has anyone seen or heard of that? Let us know in the live chat. We got 1,144 people in here right now. That is awesome. And well, thank you for that donation, Jimmy. That's awesome, brother. Really appreciate that. So yes, what do you guys think? I'm really, really keen to know what you think. A film, Civil War. Lots of chatter about Civil War, because do you know what? I would like to bet that most people watching this video right now know exactly what went on inauguration, the 6th of January, not that long ago now. Absolutely robbed. If anyone really believes that that potato would be a suitable candidate for the president of the most powerful nation on earth, really? The amount of misinformation and hate that was aimed towards Donald Trump over those 4 years, insane. Absolutely insane. It was a stolen vote, in my opinion. And yes, the left evil demo turds got away with it. And I'll tell you this much, more and more and more Americans have woken up since then. And if they dare try it again, and I believe they will, you are going to see it kick off in America. Now, why do you think no one's invaded America over the God knows how many years? Because there are more guns and ammunition in America than any other continent and country anywhere in the world. There are more armed civilians in America than the might of the American military. So woe betide anyone thinking they're just going to walk into America and take it over. Now, I know that you guys in America have been seeing exactly the same as what we're seeing in Great Britain. Do you know what that is? Fighting age male migrants en masse entering the country, whether the people of that country want them here or not. Our governments are fundamentally following a script. They don't give a rat's ass what we are saying and what we are wanting. They are just running with it. And this year does appear that this is going to be the year where it's all going to start falling down. Most of us are feeling already. It's quite a scary time, to be fair. There's nothing you and I can do to stop it. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And if you're not preparing in some way, you are going to be a victim. It's as simple as that, because we know the priests aren't going to come and help. And if some of the scenarios which I've mulled over before on previous live streams, what if lots of our UK military and US military get drafted overseas, whether it's Ukraine, whether it's in Palestine? There's enough migrants, fighting age males in our own countries. And guess what? In the UK, yeah, you get citizenship when you come over here, rightly or wrongly, illegally or not. Yes. Guess what that means? You can join up in the military. I'm a bit of a fan in UK and US military ration packs. Food, prepping food. They last for years. You can throw some in a bag. It's got everything they're ever going to need for 24 hours. They're great for emergency preparedness. Ration packs. Have you looked at them lately? Not many of them have pork. Nearly all of them says halal. Why the friggin' hell would that happen? There is more Christians in the UK than there are Muslims. Yet, why are more ration packs saying halal on there? People aren't doing anything. People aren't speaking up. People aren't questioning it. That's why they continue to put more of them on there. Can you imagine if every British soldier turned round and said to their sergeants, their staff sergeants, their second lieutenants, their section commanders, and said, look, we're not going to eat this halal shit anymore. Take it away. They wouldn't be able to operate. They'd have to stop. They wouldn't be able to go out into the field for 48 hours without food because they're going to refuse to eat that Islamic halal shite. That's what would happen. And that's what needs to happen. Because all the time this is going to go on and they're just going to be quiet and eat this stuff. They're going to keep doing it. So just imagine if every soldier, US, UK, who weren't Muslim, were to say, we're not eating that stuff anymore. They wouldn't have any choice. That's how things change. Unfortunately, it's not happening. And if I was to go online like I am right now and telling all of these soldiers to do that, what would happen to me? I would be really done for inciting stuff. Yeah, this should be the commonsensical feeling behind every citizen in Great Britain and America right now. We should be doing something, not just sitting there worried that if we say something wrong, we're going to end up in internet prison. Oh no, really? Years ago, Great Britain used to be great. Men had frigging balls in this country. What have we got now? Snowflakes. They couldn't fight their way out of a paper bag. Hell, they don't even know what sex they are. It's an embarrassment. It's a disgrace. Go back to the Viking era. Young men were born and bred to fight and defend their countries. What have we got now? Ridiculous. No one else to blame but ourselves. We just sat back and done nothing. Life was too hard. We couldn't be bothered. We were knackered. Do what you want. And now look at it. Yeah. As parents, we've probably failed because there are kids. Okay. Don't forget, as a parent, you're legally responsible for your child until the age of 18. And if your child gets to the age of 18 and is a left-leaning, global warming believing, liberal, bloody, God knows what gender believing, etc., well, it's down to us. Simple as that. So, the elections in the UK and the US and the European Parliament are all holding their elections, okay? So, really, really keep an eye on that, okay? Now, me and Jason Brashears, some of you guys know him of Archaics. We've done a few videos talking about this, and he believes based on his research, that he believes the time around the Paris Olympics this year, July into August, we are going to see sporadic violence erupt all over the West with Muslims and anyone else with small arms. We're talking knives, pistols, and rifles. We're not going to see tanks, armored battalions, missiles, small arms. He believes, and he predicted that last year, that this is going to come to pass this year. And he said they will lose, but it will happen. So my advice is, if you are living in urban areas in and around that time, make plans accordingly. And let's hope that it doesn't come to pass. And the Bible will say they will take peace from the earth this year. Anyway, what about the US border invasion? How much news was focused at the American border in Texas? Lots. I saw a video, couldn't believe it, where the heavily armed border crossing area, there was armed personnel, there was security details, there was razor wire fencing, cameras, everything that you would expect from a VCP, a vehicle checkpoint, okay? But the weird thing was, the video that I saw, this pickup truck drove towards there, turned left, and driven for what? Probably 30 seconds, maybe a minute. And there was a huge, great big open doorway with no one. Nothing there. People were just walking through. What do you know about that? Like I said, we're getting them as well. We're getting, I mean, what is the English channel in the UK? 23, 26 miles, something like that. We're getting boats coming over every single day. Apparently, according to our trusting government, we had 30,000 migrants enter the UK last year. Really? I would say at least 100,000, to be fair. When you start going back over the years, we have got a hell of a lot of illegal people in our country, and the overwhelming majority are fighting age males. How does that make you feel? All of these fighting age males in our countries walking around doing whatever they want. We don't know anything about their background. We don't know if they've got any previous on violent or sexual crime. We don't know if they've been in war crimes. We've got no idea. Yet here they are walking around our streets. And what has happened since that's happened? Violent crime has gone through the roof here in the United Kingdom. If you don't believe me, ask anyone who lives in Greater Birmingham. You ask anyone who lives in Greater London, in Nottingham, in Glasgow. Just ask them and they will tell you it's really bad. It's the worst it's ever been. And the more of these illegal people, and I use that term loosely, that they invite over here, the worse this issue is going to become. It's a recipe for disaster. You've got a whole generation of kids who can't fight their way out of a paper bag, and you're getting hardened criminals imported from abroad walking around our streets. Who do you think is going to win that fight? It's absolutely being done whilst the idiots are drinking Bud Light and watching X Factor. That's what's going down. So the more people we can get to share videos like this, if you can share this video right underneath. The more people that see this, the more people, hopefully, we can reach for more people to start asking questions and actually see what the hell is really going on. No joke. To add insult to injury, inflation. How many of you right now are struggling with bills? All of us are. It's a nightmare. And do you know what? We read a report, which I've done a video on, I think it's before Christmas now, just gone, that billionaires in London are no longer buying property at the rate that they were, instead opting to rent property. Yeah, it's affecting everyone, not the really, really poor who are seriously struggling, but the wealthy too. Everyone is struggling financially. It's been a nightmare. And do you know what the hardest thing to do videos on YouTube? If you talk about this stuff, guess what? Advertisers don't come onto your channel. You get very, very little money. Why? Because what advertising company wants to put their product next to a video like the stuff that I do? If you really want to make loads of money on YouTube, do you know what you've got to do? You've got to talk about very expensive things to get very expensive companies to advertise their very expensive products on your very expensive product video. When you talk about the truth, do you know what you get? Jack shit. That's what you get. So it's hard for everyone. It really, really is. And like I said, when billionaires decide to rent in Knightsbridge, in Chelsea, in Mayfair, in London, really? Yeah, really. The sales of luxury yachts, for example, have plummeted. Everyone has been affected. And I know everyone watching here right now has been affected. And yes, it's tough. Just looking at the chat, you guys are awesome. Excuse me. Thank you, Stephanie, over on PayPal. And we've got a new member, Deborah. Hi. Awesome. Welcome to the Madhouse. And Lisa as well. Oh, my God. Thank you for that. That's very kind. And thank you for all you do. And yes, we are on our own. Yeah. And it's been a time for all of us. Time to get ready for fighting. So, you ain't kidding. You are not kidding. The stuff is coming down the pipe because we can already see all of this collapsing. You've got to be frigging blind not to see it. Seriously. Just pop over to that. All right. Wow. Looking at 800 votes, and people still want me to wear my hat. But you know what? I don't care. There it is. Whew. I'm so hot, I'm taking it off. Yes, I've got an Easter egg head. I don't care. What else have we got? Like I said, the crime has gone up too. Crime is just gone frigging unbelievable. And like I said, if you are watching from Birmingham, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. The crime in Birmingham. Don't forget, we've done a video I think that's before Christmas as well, last year, Birmingham Council have actually gone bankrupt. Can you believe that? Now, Birmingham Council was one of the second largest in all of Europe per population for that borough. Actually gone bankrupt. Crime just gone nuts. Absolutely gone nuts. It's bloody hot in here. 22.7 degrees. Woo! We've got another thing which we talked about. Police and military numbers of personnel are falling. Yeah, they are. Why do you think that there are less police and there are less military? Statistically, as the population grows, you're going to get more and more police and more military. Of course, that sort of makes statistical sense. But we are seeing the opposite. Why are we seeing the opposite? One of the reasons which I believe, and you could look at this as a pure commonsensical viewpoint, okay? You are taking more and more risks and you're getting paid less and less money. Really ask yourself this question. Would you want a job which was high risk with low pay? You probably wouldn't want to do it. And years ago, like I said, we had Great Britain here in the UK, the Great Britain mentality, the British Isles. Yeah, no one seems to want to fight for king and country no more. Why? Because it's all come out. How corrupt, how satanic they all are. Who really wants to fight for the royal family? Who really wants to fight for this government? That's what we're seeing. And like I said, if you really do believe that the police are going to come round and help you, think again. Now, as much as we loathe them, the left, the liberals, etc., one of these days, they are going to be in big trouble and there's going to be no one to help them. Only at that precise moment are they going to realise us guys were right all along. How many of you guys watching now have had arguments, discussions, disagreements with all sorts of people, only to be found at some point later that we were right? All of the things that we said years ago, which is coming down the road, lots of people laughed at me and some of you probably. And look what's happening right now. We've been right every single step of the way. There's an old gag going around in 2020. What's the difference between a conspiracy theory and the truth? About 6 months. But guess what? Since 2020, that 6 months has gone down to about 6 days. Things are changing that bloody fast. It's nuts. It's absolutely off the scale. Okay. What about, who remembers in America when we had the Black Lives Matter riots? We had the anti-lockdown protests and riots here in the UK. Well, there is a hell of a lot of speculation going on already. And we're only in January, February, March, soon to be in April. Okay. There's already talks of big riots and protests, not just in London, but in America too. That's already been discussed now. I think there's already training going on for some police departments in the east of the United States, practicing already and training for these riots and protests. And no doubt there's probably going to be some guys in the Met who are being briefed about possible riots coming down the pipe soon. Moreover, we usually get riot season. I think they actually call that in America, riot season. If you're in America, let us know if that's true. I heard John in Preparation said earlier. Yeah, they have riot season. That's unbelievable. That's true. So yeah, expect loads of that this year too in the summertime. It's bloody nuts. But not only that, what else can we look forward to? Bloody cyber attacks. You've heard me talk about cyber attacks, and there's already been, in my opinion, already like warm-up tests or dry runs with certain electronical infrastructure globally. We've already seen it. And there's people in the chat right now who have witnessed firsthand AT&T going down for nearly an entire day. Now, if you would have said to me 5 years ago, what is the chances of AT&T going down for nearly a whole day? You'd have just laughed. It's never going to happen, because the amount of money that company has, especially floating on the stock market, it's a massive improbability that should ever happen. But it did. And when did it happen? Recently, this year. You guys are in the chat right now. You've gone through it in America. Yeah, AT&T went offline. But not only that, we've had other things. Who has come across a website called Down Detector? I'm pretty sure most of you do, but there's going to be people out there who have never heard of this, who don't even know what I'm talking about. So if you go onto an app on your phone and it's not working, or it's not working as it should, a good rule of thumb, come out of it, go online, go into Down Detector and look through there, and it will tell you all of the top 100 apps which are getting reports to say that there's a problem. Down Detector is awesome. Okay, so if you're on Facebook and something happens, it's not working, you go to Down Detector, look at it. Oh my God, look at that, Facebook. There's like 4,000 or 5,000 people have reported it within the last 20 minutes. Yeah, there's a problem with it. So you can rest assured it's not your phone, there's something wrong with the app. Now, I believe that they're purposefully doing these planned shutdowns, not just for certain apps, but for certain technologies as well. We've already seen AT&T lose network signal nationwide in continental United States. It happened. Okay. Websites have gone down. Yeah. What about three-letter agencies in the US? They was logged out of all of their terminals for 20 minutes. That really happened. Cyber attacks, my friend, are going to be quite common over the coming years. And it almost feels, it is a trap that the more that we rely on anything to do online, the more of a victim we are going to become. Okay, that's exactly where they want us. They want all of us online. If we didn't have an internet connection, we're pretty useless as a modern society. There's not many people watching this video right now where they don't need an internet connection. Let's say you're at a friend's house, got the internet, you haven't got it, but you're watching it. Okay, there's not many people who haven't got an internet connection, haven't got anything to do with anything online. Okay, you only use cash, you don't use your card. There's not many people who actually walk the walk. Indeed, it's very, very difficult. But fear not, my friend, it's difficult for a reason, because the evil bastard powers that be absolutely want that. And they have access to unlimited fines, crazy screwed up minds, and lots of yes men that I mentioned earlier. That's why all of this is happening. Okay, mainly run through fear. It's all compartmentalized. All of these people are individually contributing to this evil agenda. It's compartmentalized, i.e., they're doing little things. They don't know what the overall impact of their particular role is doing. That's why all of this works. If everyone started talking to everyone, and they might go, actually, well, what I'm doing as a job, when I've matched that up with John's job over there together, that's going to close all of the schools just like that, just because of the jobs we're doing. When people start talking and they come out of their compartments, the whole system comes down, bosh, just like that. Think of it as a house of cards. Okay, it's so finely balanced. What about JIT, J-I-T, just-in-time delivery? Do you know the logistical nightmares involved in getting a salad leaf from somewhere to your supermarket just in time? It is so fragile, and we've already seen fundamental impacts on our infrastructure with the shipping crisis in 2021. Let's not forget that really happened. All of these things, in my opinion, are planned, staged exercises, because once they've got all of the data, they know what they're doing, and all these little things have been checked off and they've tested them, they can literally press the fire button and all of it stops. Now that is a truly horrific, scary thought. Now, some people are calling that moment the Great Reset. It's probably not far from the truth, because they are literally going to be blaming us, mere mortals, because of the way the planet is, etc. It's all our fault. We need to reset everything because everything's broken, everything's wrong, and they're going to start it for their benefit, not for us. 2030 to 2050, that's where the years are where they plan this to actually happen. So, what else? Crazy. What about the World Economic Forum? They said in Davos this year, in January, not that long ago now, that the biggest thing on their list that worries them and concerns them is mis and disinformation. What that tells me is one of the reasons why they've put that right at the top of their list, that they are worried about mis and disinformation, is because our information is getting out there, and that's what they don't want. So they are really going to be trying everything they can, every dirty trick and tactic in the book to stop people like me and others talking to lots of people about what's really going on. They do not want it, and they have got a 2-year plan. So the likelihood of me sitting here doing this without any serious repercussions in 2 years' time is crazy. It's happening by the look of it. We need more people to get this information out there. So if you can share this video, it really helps. And also consider giving it a thumbs up if you like what you're hearing so far. If you don't, just come out of it and watch something else. Hell, that's what I do. So yeah, we're going through all of these things, but it's the censorship on us, which should be at the forefront for us too, because without communications, without getting information out there, how are we going to win this war? And it is a war. You've got to be mad to think that all of this isn't a war. It's a non-conventional war, i.e. uniforms and bullets and tanks. No, don't do it anymore. They don't need to. Look what's going on in America. America is being taken apart day by day. Not one bullet fired. Crazy. It's happening here as well. In fact, it's all over the West. Most of us can understand that. And that's a good thing, because we need people on our side to realize this is absolutely happening. It's not fear porn. It's real. And if you don't like fear and all of this sort of stuff, well, guess what? Good luck when your front door gets kicked in. Maybe you should have listened when all of this was going down, rather than saying, oh, it's fear porn and doom and gloom and scaremongering. And wow, this is reality. This is how it is. I don't like it, but we're stuck with it. What are we going to do about it? Certainly not put your head up your ass and think it's all going to blow away. That's what children do. That's what kids do in a playground. We're adults. We're intelligent adults. We've got an awesome community here. We should be in comms trying to figure out how to navigate through this war. You can win little battles here and there, and we are. We're winning more battles than you realise. Look at the ULEZ thing in London. We've won that one. No one's got to pay ULEZ charges anymore. Why? Because lots of us had it up to here, cut them all down. There's not enough money in the budget to replace them. Guess what? We won a battle there. Good. Fair play. And that is one battle of many. It just needs people to start questioning things, to start saying no when they need to grow up, grow a pair, and do something about it. Sitting indoors, putting memes on Facebook ain't going to cut it. Yes, it's important. At some point, we are going to have to physically do something. And that is open to imagination. That's what bonds us all together. Our imagination is immense. We're smart too. Don't ever forget that. What about all of the fake news and the deep fake? That's another thing. Some of the stuff coming out online now is very, very difficult to see which is true and which is done on a computer. It's that scary. And guess what? It's only going to get more and more and more finely tuned as time goes on. You've got to be a nut job to think that you won't be fooled by AI. You will. And it might freak you out quite a lot, because when you link that into cyber attacks and ransomware, yeah, that is going to be very, very real indeed. And you try and prove yourself or your identity in a court of law, where the court system is already snowed under in the UK. 2 years ago, the magistrate courts was 324,000 cases behind. That was 2 years ago. Imagine what it's like now. Good luck going to court to try and prove your innocence when someone's nicked your ID, deep faked you, and made you come across as X, Y, and Z. Yeah, what are we going to do? Well, luckily, we can talk now, get the information out there, and start thinking about these things, and plan and prepare, so we're not can become a victim. And yeah, someone said about the Kate photograph was absolutely AI. True. What about the bad weather as well? Now, I know all of the stuff I've been talking about so far is serious and it's very real. And I know lots of people mock the British because of the weather, and we do go on about it. Why? Because the weather we get in the UK is different than anywhere in the world. How many places in the world they get wet snow like we do? Most places get dry powder snow. Very easy to deal with. You start mucking around with cold, wet, freezing snow, guess what? Nothing moves. Everything slips around. It's different. We're not talking about snow. We're talking about rain right now. Now, how many of you guys watching right now think they've had it up to here with the rain? I am not joking. In the middle of Wales, I know it rains in Wales anyway, but when you speak to farmers and people out in the shops and stuff, all of the locals that have lived here for 50, 60, 70 years, they've never seen it so bad. So what does that tell you? It is bad. You've got to be blind not to see it's bad. It's crazy. And we all know, well, most of us do, I like to think anyway, know fundamentally that our weather systems are being manipulated by technology. Now, if that comes as a shock to you, I'm sorry, but I personally believe it's absolutely true. They've had access to this technology for over 40 years now. 40 years. Can you imagine how fine-tuned they can get that technology right now? They could literally make it rain anywhere in the world at any time that they want. They can move that rain. They can make it the temperature really hot in the sea. And what happens when that happens? You start a hurricane, and you can absolutely steer that hurricane wherever you want. That technology absolutely exists. Okay, answer me this. When was the last time that you witnessed days and days and weeks of blue sky with the odd cloud now and again? How many of you have just been seeing grey clouds constantly? Constantly grey clouds. How many of you get up really early in the morning when it's a bit sunny, 5 a.m.? You can see lots of white lines all over the sky. When most people wake up and get up around 7 or 8 a.m., something like that, it's too late. The clouds are already there. If you get up really early, you'll see the truth of what's going on. I like to get up early, and when I go outside, it will shock you. I've been spending some time in England recently, and it's unbelievable what's going on out there. It is insane. Let me know what you guys think about this sort of information. Now, lots of people can't handle it. They think it's BS. So what I say to people who think all of these white lines in the sky, if they think there's nothing wrong with them, it's just water, you know, you're being dramatic or whatever. Okay, answer me this one simple question. You find me a photograph before 1990 showing white lines in this blue sky. I bet you any money you can't. Why? Because they didn't start spraying this crap before 1990. Yet, most importantly, all of these flight paths have always been practically the same. So why was there blue skies before 1990 and since 1990 all of these white lines? What changed? Aircrafts run on aviation fuel. They always have. What changed? Did the atmosphere suddenly change where you can just see these white lines everywhere? No. They started to spray en masse all over the globe under the guise of geo weather modification. Yeah. In other words, the planet's heating up. The icebergs are melting. We're all going to flood. That's why billionaires are buying up loads of coastal resorts. Why would they do that if we're all going to flood? So what we should do is spray all this crap in the sky, block the sun out so it doesn't get too hot and it doesn't flood. That's what they're trying to make us to believe that. And if you really believe that's true, you're a freaking retard. Big time. Such a retard. Because show me the photographs before 1990. Let's talk. I'll tell you what, it's happening. And I was saying to my partner yesterday, can you imagine if these evil bastards managed to make sure that we had constant grey skies every single day for 3 years? Imagine how disillusioned and how pissed off everyone's going to become. No summer, no snow at Christmas, just grey, drizzle, rain, winds. Imagine it every day. Do you know what that's going to do to the psychology of your mind? I'll tell you what it would do. Over time, it will destroy you. And let's hope to God that they don't do something like that. Because if that actually happened, It's going to be something really, really hard to get around. But the thing is, they know this. And the longer they can make our weather this crap, they know the more and more and more we're getting pissed off, the more and more we're feeling like we're losing this war, etc. Now, another thing, I would like to guess that these planes that are spraying all of these white trails everywhere are military planes from military bases. I doubt very much that these are taken off from Gatwick and Heathrow. I fundamentally doubt that very much. I believe that they are from military avionic bases all over the world, not just the UK. We got people in the chat who are in Australia. We got people in America, Canada, New Zealand, all over Europe. They are all seeing the same. It's not just here in jolly old England. It's not. It's everywhere. Now, ponder this point here. What if that these planes were taking off from military installations all over the world were unmanned? Yeah. Because naturally, at some point, you're going to pose the question, what sort of person knowingly would do that as a job? How about you've got aircrafts that will do this with no one flying them? How long have we had autopilot? 40 years, 50 years maybe? How much advance has that got now? We've already got drones in military conflicts right now as I'm speaking. It's absolutely plausible and possible to fly a huge jetliner as much as you want with no one on board, filled up with all of these horrible, disgusting chemicals. That also leads into what the hell is happening with our trees. Only today I learned, did you know this? Southern oak death. Have you heard of that? Southern oak death. Oak trees are suddenly dying. Really? Yeah. What about ash dieback? That's another one. Sycamores, Dutch elm. There's so many different tree illnesses out there. Now, how many of you have noticed lots of mistletoe on trees right now, all over the UK? I've seen loads, more than I've ever seen before. I've only just found out recently that mistletoe is a fungus. It's a disease which attacks and eventually kills the tree. We are seeing orchards being attacked in England. We are seeing loads of ash trees high up with mistletoe and all sorts of stuff on them. Yeah, and I remember when I spent lots of time in the outdoors from 2012 onwards, looking around the forest and studying the seasons from winter right up till the following winter and everything in between. I saw the bare trees and the buds just started to come up. I saw how clean and fresh and beautiful all of the leaves looked. Only to find, and a few months later, you start seeing these mold spores, these rusty spots, the leaves drying up. What? It has to be the crap that they're spraying up there. Maybe these concoctions that they're releasing into the atmosphere via these unmanned planes globally are targeting certain trees. What about that? They might start spraying anti-oak chemicals for 2 years straight. And then it'd be all over the news. Oh my God, all of the oak trees are starting to die. We've got to cut them all down. And then they go on to something else. What about, oh, we'll spray something to kill all the ash trees. And then all of the beech trees, all of the birch trees, etc. And then eventually, what trees are you going to have left? All by design. This is absolutely plausible. They've got the money, they've got the brains, and they are friggin' evil enough. You've got to be mad to believe that there's not evil people out there in positions of power. This is absolutely true. It's going ahead right here, right now, all over the world. All of these things are linked. Like I said at the start of this video, it's when you start looking at all of these things. Okay, don't be so naive to think they wouldn't do that, would they? They're doing it. You know they're doing it. You can feel it, but you're too scared to admit it. We are at war. What are we going to do about it? What we can do is to start talking to others and to start growing a pair and start saying no more often. And we'll have to go from there. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy, guys. I'm not joking it. But when you start to see the amount of trees that are being cut down because of all of these diseases or whatever it is they're calling it, what's going to happen? Lots of these trees, especially in Wales where I live, they're all on slopes. So when you cut all of the trees down on these slopes, it loosens the structure of the soil And when you get more and more rain, because they can make it rain anywhere, what's going to happen? Landslides. You've heard it here first. I don't hear no one talking about this. We are going to see landslides in the Western world, especially in the UK, more often. Why? Because they cut all the trees down. The roots are going to die. They're going to crumble. We're going to get more and more rain. And guess what? All of that structure on that entire hillside, which was bonded tightly with tree roots. Don't forget, trees are great big sponges. The amount of water inside trees will blow your mind. You take the trees down, where's that water going to go? It's just going to sit there on the surface. It's going to rot the roots. All of that soil is just sitting there, waiting to just get washed down onto what? A river? A village? A motorway? Mark my words, you're going to be seeing these over the next 3 or 4 years. For true, all right? This stuff's happening. You've got to be blind not to see it. But what about the bad weather and the farmers? You try going out into your garden and planting some seeds right now. Yeah, when you push that little tiny seed into that muddy, watery slop. Yeah, crazy. Now, I know some of you are not naive to believe that that's actually what happens. Most of the time, we know what to do with seeds. We germinate them, we nourish them, we nurture them, we take care of them. And every now and again, we put them outside in a controlled environment so they start to very slowly get hardened off, used to the environment which they are eventually going to end up and to hopefully flourish and provide fruits. Okay. That time frame is getting shorter. Why? Because all of the time it's cold, wet, and windy out there. The likelihood of tiny little plants surviving those sorts of conditions are very slim. Now, think ahead. What's going to happen? Harvest time, September, October this year. Do you think the harvest is going to be higher or lower than it usually is? Let me know in the live chat. And if you're watching on the replay, put it in the comment section, because we need to know what you guys think about this. Because it's a lot wetter than it has been for a long, long time. And last year was even worse than this year. If you remember last year, crazy 2023 was. January, February, absolute, what a washout. And all they're going to do is they're going to blame us for global warming. It's because we're driving diesel cars, petrol cars, etc. We all know, hopefully we all know that this is all, we all think that's bullshit, okay? It's absolutely the case. So yeah, no farmers, no food. I've even went to a protest locally. Farmers are just not happy with how they are being treated, how they are being pushed and forced into this net zero bullshit agenda. Like I keep saying, carbon, they don't want it. By 2050, they don't want any carbon in the atmosphere. Do you know what will happen if that was the case? Every living bioorganism on this planet would die. That is a fact. You remove carbon from the atmosphere, son, no one's going to breathe. They're cutting the trees down now. They're starting to now. They're putting diseases on the trees, so they are going to need to be cut down. Who remembers that term, problem, reaction, solution? They create a problem by spraying all that crap in the sky. They get a reaction. Oh my God, all of the trees are going to die. And what are we going to do? And the solution, we'll have to cut them down because they're going to spread. Okay, cut them down. Great idea. Guess what? Less trees, more people, more pollution, more crazy weather, and it just goes on and on and on. Tell you what, something we haven't heard for a long, long time in the UK. Terrorist attacks. Who remember those terms? Terror attacks. Yeah, we haven't had a good old terror attack for ages, have we? Wonder why that is. It's almost like, you remember 2020? That was the first year in recorded human history that there wasn't one single case of the flu. Funny, ain't it? Who actually believes that to be true? Yeah, that's what they were saying everywhere. Not one recorded case of flu. It was the issue. And you know what I'm talking about. I don't even want to say it on here, but you know what I'm talking about. So terror attacks. When was the last terror attack in the UK? It's like, give them something else. I'll tell you what, they're getting bored about it. Give them some more terror attacks. That's literally how it feels, how it all happens. So my predictions are we are going to be seeing terrorist attacks in the Western world this year. So you're mainly going to be focusing at areas of lots of people. Music events and sports events. They are two key areas where you're going to get a large amalgamation of human beings together. What better way to cause a lot of terror? To make a lot of people scared all at the same time, and then flash it all over the world news, all over Twitter, all over TikTok, all over the mainstream. Breaking news. There's been a gunman or a series of gunmen open fire at a rock concert in Idaho or whatever it is. Stuff's coming down the road. They haven't done it for so long. This stuff's coming this year. And they will probably be blaming the foreign fighting age males coming over here. And all that's going to do is that's going to stir up more internal hatred between them and the rest of us. It's crazy. What about disease X? Yeah, they have spent so much time researching and preparing and doing like drills and stuff in hospitals and etc. about disease X. They don't even know anything about it, yet they're preparing for it already. It's crazy. In a sec, I've got some screen shares to show you. I don't know if many people know about some of these things I'm talking about are actually real. Okay, this isn't just bullshit. And also, we know about the pandemic treaty that the WHO are trying to push through this year. So if that absolutely goes ahead, expect highly possibly disease X winter flu season this year. So you're looking at September, October, November. Expect an announcement from the World Health Organization saying that there's going to be a global health emergency. As soon as they release those three words publicly, apparently that will automatically give all individual sovereign state governmental powers handed over to the World Health Organization. Yeah. Sold out like that. All member states have signed up to this. All of them. Every government around the world has signed up to this treaty. There are big plans to try and get this stopped, because if they get away with that, wow, they're really going to try it on. You thought 2020 was scary? That was just a training exercise. That wasn't even really that real. You wait till they release the real stuff. Yeah. Don't forget, urban environments, lots of concentrated people, diseases spread quick, violence spreads quick. Do what you feel you need to do to get away from those areas. If you can't do it permanently, do it around the times where you think it's going to get hot and ugly. Go and spend some time with friends who live out in the country for a while during those times. That would be my advice. Take it or leave it. It's up to you. Make it a priority, because I know lots of people are going to say, I can't afford to do that. If you want to make something a priority, you will. You would do whatever you can to make it happen. If you don't, you're the only one stopping yourself from doing that. Okay? It is what it is. It sucks, but this is all of the stuff that's going on now. And bio attacks. There's even talk about guys and girls who are going to be watching the Eclipse on the 8th of April next month, that there's going to be a bio terror attack as that is happening. Personally, I don't buy into that at all. But nonetheless, there is a lot of chatter online about just that scenario across that totalitarian, or that totality, line going across America. Okay. What about law changes? Like I said, the emergency acts. So we had the coronavirus bill, which come out, and then it turned into an act. And it was like they can do certain things which are heinous, totally non-democratic laws or orders under the guise of an emergency. So because it's an emergency, they're allowed to do it. Lockdown, searching people, social distancing. You have to cover. Really? That all happened. They're going to be trying it on again? Absolutely. Who remembers all of the food processing plants that just disappeared in America? And we've had some in the UK as well. Who remembers that? That absolutely happened. Okay. It's an attack on our food. Like I said, they're cutting down trees. the water table is just going to get flooded. They're making it rain. They're making it hard for crops to grow. They're making it hard for animals to graze on the fields because it's just saturated out there right now. The food industry is struggling right now, seriously. Inflation's going up. To import people from abroad on low wages to go and pick all of the crops, etc. Well, where's the money going to come from? Is there going to be any crops because the weather's so bad? Are we going to have to import it? Are things going to be more expensive? Probably. And at the rate that they are deforesting the UK is insane. 50 years ago, there was a government grant to plant loads of softwood trees only to harvest them 50 years later. That time is right now. If you have been traveling around the UK, you've probably noticed it. You've probably noticed all of these mountains and hills that were once covered in forest are all bare right now. Yeah. And do you know what a weird thing is? It's all well and good doing this. Of course, they're plantations. They only plant the trees for their timber. They're not for aesthetics or landscape art or anything like that. It's just basically to make floorboards, basically, right? When you harvest them and they start to plant trees, there's a lot of emphasis in actually planting the tree and ticking the box, okay? But I think 80% of these little trees that they plant after 1 year are dead. So only 20% survival rate of all of these little trees, these little white plastic collars that you see all on hillsides popping all over the UK. If you can, look at it yourself. If you don't believe me, get out your car, pull over, go and have a look, and just hold the top and pull it up. There's a high chance it will just come out of the ground. It's got no roots. It's dead. There is no budget or finances geared up for the first 2 years of a young tree's life. It's literally plant it in there, it'll be fine. It's not fine. They're dying. The weather's so crap. It's so wet. It's so windy. They just can't. And it's not good because they are cutting down so many trees, making the water table so crazy, making it so windy, making it hard for pollution. It's just unbearable. It's crazy. So let's have a quick look. Look at this. The wettest February in some areas, but UK rainfall record unlikely to be broken. Nonetheless, it's still really, really bad out there. And we can see on here, look at that. 213.7 millimeters wetter than 2020. 131% rainfall. We are just getting so much rain over here in the UK. We've had lows of -3 degrees. Look at this. 157 flood alerts in England. 157 flood alerts in the UK alone. Let me know what you've been having in America. Is it unusual weather that you're having? We used to have seasonal weather. We used to have April showers. So we get a predominant rainfall just in April. Yeah. It is all going tits up. You know what I said about the terrorist attacks and stuff like that? Check this out. Exercise. Abundantly. Look at this. A multi-agency exercise took part. Yorkminster. This is the 22nd of January, so it's a few months ago. I don't think many people actually heard about this. Some probably do. And they was training for all of these scenarios. Police everywhere. Tactical firearms officers. Yeah. All of this stuff is absolutely real. It's not being made up. Why would they spend, and it's cost a lot of money to run these exercises. It's crazy. So with the threat of all of that sort of stuff, what we used to do on this channel a lot of the time was this, and I noticed a difference, and I'm going to report on it right now. Okay, this is straight out from the MI5, the Secret Security website. Okay, we are on the terrorism threat levels, right? So here it is highlighted severe. That means an attack is highly likely. Okay. It's not moderate, where it's possible, but not really likely. Okay. This is highly likely. That's severe. Okay. When we look at this, this is substantial, right? This means an attack is likely. So in the UK, it is substantial, means that it is likely. Now, the reason I've highlighted severe is because if you remember, Northern Ireland was on severe security alert. Now it's been downgraded to substantial, the same as the rest of the UK. So for all intents and purposes, they're not really expecting much. That's basically what I take from that. Okay. The other things which are popping up all over the feeds right now, this is crazy. Are we heading for World War III? And is Britain's military ready? Well, I hate to tell you, but the British military, there's nothing anymore. There's hardly anything there. It's crazy. What I'll do, if you want to, I can see if I can drop this underneath the video so we can read a bit more about all of this. Look, that was recently. The military that we have in the UK, in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop it there, because that is just so depressing reading. Who remembers years ago that the UK had the biggest and the best navy in the whole entire world? Now look at it. It has been taken apart. But not just that. What about America? The defense budgets, the defense cuts. Look where the money's going. Look what's happening. And who remembers hearing a story about China? If you're in China and you've got TikTok, and mostly the younger generations use it, it looks like it's full up with really informative, educational, decent, sensible content. And look at the content that TikTok is providing anyone outside of China. You can literally see anything on it. Uncensored, filth, stupidness, just bullshit, time-wasting entertainment crap, basically. So yeah, when you got a whole generation being brought up on that, and you get Chinese kids learning martial arts, they're all fit, they're all intelligent. Yeah, and look how many population they've got, and look at the population decline throughout all Western countries. I've done a video talking about this recently. It's shocking. It's shocking to find that the population decline in the United Kingdom and indeed the West is the worst it's been for, I don't know how long, a son of a bitch long time. It really has been a long time. Then I'll get some people, they hit me up about all of this sort of stuff, which I don't really buy into, to be honest. The 2024 doomsday clock, and it's still at 90 seconds to midnight. So if you don't already know, this doomsday clock was put together by a group of top scientists and highly intellectual and well-revered people to theorize about scenarios about modern society and the risk of a thermal global nuclear war. And they state that when this clock reaches midnight, both hands, the possibility of a nuclear war is pretty much a go situation. They are saying that we are 90 seconds away from midnight, based upon all of these things which are simultaneously happening. We've got a nuclear risk with all of the stuff going on with Russia, Ukraine, you've got the North Koreans, you've got the Iranians, etc. We've got climate change. We all know that this is absolutely done on purpose by truly evil people, and not much to do with the rest of us. The biological threats, look what happened in 2020, and look what they're trying to roll out at the end of this year. Disruptive technologies. So you're basically talking about AI. So you got all of these things combined, and they firmly believe that how everything is looking, we are not far away from that becoming a possibility. That's it from me, guys. I hope you've enjoyed the show. Thanks ever so much for all of you taking part, and I'm really keen to hear your input and interest about the topic that we discussed earlier. And also, if you want to send me an email, the email address is on this screen, and indeed it is underneath this video. So if you want to, by all means, you can do that. It's absolutely welcome. I'll whack it up on the screen now, because the emails are coming in. Since I've upgraded the inbox, that is getting out, and lots of people are emailing in, which is really good. Everyone who has donated, it really helps support the channel and making this move forward, because like I said, with the advertising and what I talk about, it is very difficult in this day and age. So every one of you who has helped, I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart, because we need to help each other navigate through these crazy times. Everyone who's taken part in the live stream and indeed on the replay as well, seriously appreciate it. Everyone who hit a thumbs up, that's awesome. But moreover, the guys, and I know lots of you love doing this, and this helps more than anything, okay? The guys who share the video, when they share it on Facebook, WhatsApp, Telegram, Twitter, etc., it really, really helps. So if you could please click share and share it on your way out and hit the thumbs up, that will mean the world to me. It really, really would. And last but not least, all of the guys who support the channel from the members area, you guys are fantastic, and it really does mean the world. Lastly but not least, the moderators, you guys are awesome, and you always will be. So you guys take care. Thanks for watching. Stay funky.